Hello again. Today I'm going to have a try to help those people who want to do clean and simple cards and really find it rather tricky. So I've got 10 key points to think about to make a clean and simple card a success. Okay, so the definition of clean and simple cards is that they are made with clean lines, areas of white space, and minimal layers with few or no embellishments. Okay, let's break that down a bit. White space. This is the first thing. White space means an area of the card that has got no embellishment, no embossing, no image, no die cuts. It's just plain blank card. That doesn't have to be white, I have to say. It depends on the colour of your card base. If you've got a coloured card base, your white space would be the colour of the card, plain colour of the card. I think white space is a term from graphic design where it just means an empty or blank area. Okay, so the first thing is white space. There must be areas of white space, and a lot of people think that I could do that. I'll put a couple of embossed lines here, or I'll put a couple of embossed. If it doesn't add to the overall design, don't do it. Don't do it. So this is a card I made some time ago. It's not got much on it. I do have a front panel, and that's a very subtle way of framing whatever your image is. It's not got different colours. It's just the same kind of card, but it's just got that very subtle frame. And it's surprising what effect it has on whatever you put on that panel. So first thing, white space. There must be areas of white space. Now, in order to get that white space, you need to choose your card base appropriately. So that's my second point. Choose an appropriate sized card base. I make all my cards from sheets of A4, which is what this is. And that sheet of A4 I make into all of these different size cards. This one is a square one, which is as large as I can get from that piece of card. The piece that's cut off is used for die cutting, sentiments, all sorts of things. This one is cut halfway down the length and tent folded. That is the one I use most of all. Absolutely. This one is that one. If it hasn't been on a diet, it's just a bit wider. Sometimes I've got an image and it's not quite right on here, and I need something a bit wider. I have to make my own envelopes for this size, I have to say. The other ones I can all buy commercial envelopes for, so that's another one. This is a smaller square, 5-inch square. This one is a 5x7 card. This is a slimline, and this is the sheet of A4 cut in half, or folded in half, sorry. Okay, so lots of different sized cards, all from one sheet of A4. Okay, let's just start. The next thing I'm going to do, having talked about white space, that's number one. Number two, choosing an appropriate size card base, comes on to number three, which is placement. Now, let's just start. We'll start with, if you like, my favourite, the one I use most of all. Let's have this one. It's the same size as that, okay? Okay, if I just put something onto here, I've got a bunch of embellishments here. I'm just going to put that on there, and it kind of looks fairly ordinary. Now, the subtle difference of just putting a panel on the top, and this one is, I've just put that there to simulate having this raised onto foam tape. Once that's on there, already that has been accentuated a little bit. It's ever so subtle, but it's there. If I wanted to, I could put another little square for him to stand on, or a circle or something. So everything that you add is little by little and slowly, one at a time. Okay, so we could put our panel on. The next thing I want to talk about is where you put things on that panel. So we've got white space, we've got an appropriate sized card base. For example, let's just look at, before I go on to that, if I wanted to use this one, let's try it without. Not bad, but if I wanted to put something with it, a butterfly or something, there's a bit of white space there, but I could go up a size of card and that would give me more white space, and I would still have some space then for a sentiment. I've got a card like this one that I made here. I've got quite a good, because that's a fairly good sized die cut, I've got a fairly good sized, matching sized sentiment to go with it. Whereas all of that lot, I couldn't have got onto a card base this size. So that's important, the size of card base that you use. Here's a big image. There's not a lot of white space there. We're getting better. Probably better still. I could still have room then for an embellishment, and I still could have a plain white card panel which would just take your eyes in to that image. So it is important choosing the size that matches whatever image, whatever decoration you want to put on. You see, he could go on there, but he might be better on a bigger one. Right, let's just put these away. So size of your card base is important for what you want to put onto it. Next thing is the placement of what you do. Now, when you do put images or whatever onto a card, I've seen a lot of people, they kind of put them very close to the corner like this, for example. And to me, that's falling off the edge. It doesn't feel safe. I need to move it in just a little bit to give the whole thing a bit more balance. I can't bear to see things so close to the edge when there's a lot of other space around. The space has got to balance. It really has to balance. So an excellent thing to remember about placement when it comes to your main feature of your card is thirds. Thirds are very pleasing for some reason to the mind. So if you put something on a third of a card, there, can you see it's gone off the third, but move it in a bit, it's on the third. I've even got that little vase on the third of the square rather than in the middle. It just kind of, there's something very pleasant about it. So thirds work well. Corners work well. If you want to put something in, this is in a corner. And this bit of embossing is balanced by the line of the cord coming down. Really, really works well. So placement. Now, if you're not sure about where to do these things, it's a really good idea to follow a sketch. Have a plan where things are going to go. And if you're not sure how to go, if you just, I like using sketches myself, to be honest, and there are a wealth of sketches for clean and simple cards on the internet. The group that I belong to, the Clean and Simple card making group on Facebook, I draw a sketch every couple of weeks, and there's a whole catalogue of them there that you can choose something to follow. It does save a lot of head scratching and a lot of time. So have a plan. Use a simple sketch. That's number 4. Number 5 is to limit the number of layers, and lots of people put a red one, a green one, a blue one, or whatever, and they put lots of different colours. And Clean and Simple can have a kind of layer that's white, like this one. It's just a very subtle frame, So do limit the number of layers. We don't want to have a border of this and a border of that and a border of the other. Keep it clean. Absolutely keep it clean. You can, without all those layers of totally covering the card, have dimension within it. This is mounted up onto a little piece of foam tape. This is onto a little foam pad. This whole thing there has got a bit of foam tape underneath. You can get some very thin foam tape. That means that it won't be that high, so there's no problem about sending it through the post. So that is absolutely fine. Another thing that you can do to add dimension without doing all these layers and layers and layers is to stack some of the die cuts. That's a few layers so that it stands out really well. We haven't got colours, it's all white, but it's emphasised very, very subtly. Everything with Clean and Simple must be subtle. Okay, so where have we got to? Whitespace, an appropriate sized card base for whatever you want to put onto your card, placing it using the thirds or a corner, for example, not right in a corner, not out of balance, following plan, having a simple sketch, and limiting the number of layers. People have lots of different coloured layers, and that kind of takes the eye away. So the next one I want to mention is limiting colour choice. Here, these colours are all in the same part of this spectrum. Brown, earth tones, bit of yellow, and that's it. If you try and keep to the same shades, there's much more of a feeling of unity. If you start trying to put lots of different colours on, it's surprising how the eye is distracted. Let me just try and make up something. Where's that? Here we go. There's that. Where's my little card base? Have I got a little card base? I don't know. Oh, that was it, wasn't it? This one. I was going to use the back. I often do that to practice. Put something on the back and find out, stick it down, and then realise I've already got something on the front. Anyway, that's something else. So we've got that, and we want a butterfly. Okay. Well, people put lots of different colours on, and oh, look, there's even better with 2 butterflies. How about 3? Put it onto a bigger base. It still doesn't work. All these colours are just too much. And if I take them away, suddenly I feel calmer. Keeping it to a simple colour choice. Don't have too many colours. And if you do have colours, different ones, have ones that are that go in the same sort of colour families. So that's another one. Keeping the colours limited. Okay, this is number 7 now. We're getting on. Number 7 is matching the sentiment to the image, not just for what it says, but for size, for colour, for weight of line. This one here, this image, the lines are really quite fine, and the lines of the sentiment here are a similar weight. So it doesn't look overbalanced, it doesn't look out of sync. So look at your image, not just what the sentiment says, but it mustn't be too large, mustn't be too bold, mustn't be too... Well, this is my opinion, I'm saying this. You might disagree with me, of course, but to please me, the line of the sentiment must match the line of the image. Like this one, that's quite bold. This is quite bold. The two feel as if there's unity there between them. Okay, right, I've done sentiments. My next one is embellishments. It says little or no or subtle. These have got some embellishments on, a whole bunch of them, but they're very, very small. Very small. What else have I got by way of embellishments? I haven't got much. I suppose this one you could say that the little heart is an embellishment, but it's everything is subtle. Don't overpower with anything. So small embellishments. And when it comes to techniques, you can do whatever technique you like. I've done a few videos about tissue paper techniques, alcohol inks, embossing, and all this kind of stuff. But don't use the whole thing on your card. Be choosy. Pick a small piece and add a small piece of whatever you've done to your card. This one, there's quite a few layers there actually, but they're together. It doesn't look like there's layers and layers and layers. So, number 9 is keep it size appropriate, whatever you're doing. And the last thing of all is your craftsmanship. By that, I mean, do take care with mounting one thing on top of another. Get things straight. Cut things straight. If you don't trust your eye, get one of these things. This is a right angle ruler, and you can put this on and check that you're right with the side of the card to the bottom. They're not expensive. Just have a go. I hope this has been a bit of help. I'll have a listen to myself and see if I'm making sense. But choose, be selective, be simple, be subtle. 3 S's. There you go. Well, thanks very much for listening, and I hope some of it's been of help. Thanks.